The stars had always been quiet. From Earth, they looked calm, peaceful, and endless. But now, standing on the bridge of the flagship horizon, John Carter felt something different. Humanity was stepping into a part of the galaxy that had never taken them seriously before. The alien fleets were waiting, and they did not hide their opinions. They laughed openly at the Earth fleet. The horizon was far from the largest ship in the galaxy, and it did not glow with the strange lights and colors of alien energy vessels. Its metal plates were plain, strong, and practical. Its engines hummed with a steady rhythm, not a dance of light like the ships of the Zarians or the Velner. To the aliens, these ships looked clumsy, ugly, and primitive. John Carter stood at the center of the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the railing. Around him, the crew worked in quiet harmony. Each person knew their role. There was no drama, no need for extra flashes of light to show authority or power. They worked together like a well-oiled machine. "Commander Carter," said Emma Brooks, the lead engineer, her voice calm, "they are still laughing. Communications just came in. The Zarians are calling our fleet a fleet of metal boxes." John did not smile. "I know," he said. "They think we are weak. Let them. Let's see if their words make them stronger in battle." Emma shook her head. "It is not just words. They have powerful ships, weapons that can cut through our hulls like paper." "Then we make them work harder," John said, his eyes on the view screen. The stars outside the viewport were countless points of light, but one day they would hold their own surprises. He knew humans could survive what others could not. They always had. Below the bridge, the rest of the fleet was ready. Hundreds of ships of every size, all built by humans, all sturdy and reliable. Captain Alex Morrow moved among them, checking reports and keeping morale high. The aliens had no idea what they were up against. They only saw the surface, the outside. They did not know the humans behind the controls. On the main conference deck of the Horizon, John and his officers reviewed the plan. "We are here to participate in a joint exercise," John explained. "The Council believes we will fail." "That is fine. Our job is to show that Earth's fleet can handle anything." Lucas Hayes, a young tactical officer, asked, "Do you think they will attack us first?" "No," John said. "They do not need to. They think we are weak. They will wait and they will watch." "That is their mistake." Meanwhile, across the stars, the aliens were already whispering among themselves. Admiral Cathar of the Zarians was furious. "These humans," he said, "they do not belong here. Look at their ships, blocky, heavy, old-fashioned." "How can they think they can fight us?" Captain Lyra of the Velner smiled but did not speak. She had seen this before. Species that thought themselves weak often hid strength in ways outsiders could not see, but she dismissed the thought. Humans looked simple, predictable. Uninteresting, back on the horizon, Emma Brooks moved to her console, checking the engines. "Commander, our shields are strong, but the aliens' ships are faster. We cannot match them in speed." "Speed is not everything," John said. "They will see soon enough." "Humans do not fight like they do. We do not rely on style or beauty. We rely on survival, on endurance. That is our strength." As the fleet moved into the open space where the exercise would take place, John's thoughts drifted to Earth. Earth had taught humans to survive. From storms to earthquakes, from wars to disasters, humanity had always adapted. Every ship in this fleet was built with one idea in mind. It must keep going no matter what. The aliens did not know this yet. The first contact was simple. Small scout ships from the aliens flew near, scanning, recording, judging. Their scanners passed over the horizon and its companions. They sent back messages to their commanders. "They are slow," one alien officer said. "Their weapons are basic. Their shields will not last in real combat. We can destroy them in minutes if needed." But they did not understand human redundancy. Each ship had multiple engines, backup systems, and layers of protection. Every weapon had a manual override. Every shield had a secondary shield. And every human officer knew how to operate it all under stress. Emma Brooks smiled quietly. "They think they understand us," she said to John. "They do not," John nodded. "They never do. That is why we survive. That is why Earth survives." The exercise began. Humans were instructed to form a defensive line while alien ships moved around them, testing weaknesses. The aliens used lights and sounds, bright colors and noise, trying to intimidate. They expected fear or hesitation. They got neither. Alex Morrow, leading one of the smaller human ships, called in a report. "Commander, they are circling us, trying to find a weak spot. They expect us to panic." "Then we give them no panic," John said. Keep formation, trust the systems, trust each other. Inside the ships, human crews worked calmly. Engineers rerouted power from damaged sections. Gunners adjusted targeting manually when automatic systems failed. Humans did not complain. They did not wait for orders. They acted as one body with many minds. Admiral Cathar observed the exercise from his command ship. His eyes narrowed. They are not behaving like other races. They are organized, predictable, yes, but also unyielding. Their movements are strange but efficient. I do not like it. Captain Lyra leaned closer. They may surprise us yet, but their ships are still ugly. Look at them, metal boxes in the middle of the stars. Back on the horizon, John Carter watched the aliens' movements. He had studied them for months. He knew their tactics, their pride, their weaknesses. But he also knew humans had something aliens did not: adaptability. Where aliens planned for perfection, humans planned for disaster. Where aliens designed for elegance, humans designed for survival. "Commander," Emma said, "they are coming closer, changing formation." "It looks like they are testing our shields in real time," John nodded. Let them see what humans do when tested." The first exchanges of the exercise began. The aliens fired energy pulses at the human fleet. The blasts hit shields and bounced off in bright flashes. Humans responded not with flashy beams, but with careful, controlled fire. The alien ships could not predict the angles, the timing, or the persistence of human attacks. Lucas Hayes called out, "They are surprised. Their shields are weakening." "They expected us to break immediately," John smiled faintly. "They will learn eventually, but for now we keep moving, keep fighting, keep surviving." The aliens tried to adjust. They formed tighter groups, fired in waves, and tried to force humans to scatter. But human crews were ready. Every captain knew their role, every engineer knew the limits of the ship, and every sailor trusted their neighbor. Humans could fight as one even when individual ships were damaged or failing. On the alien command ship, Admiral Cathar slammed a clawed hand on the table. "This is impossible. They should be collapsing. Why are they still moving? Why are their shields still holding?" Captain Lyra shook her head slowly. "I told you, they are unpredictable. Their strength is in their persistence, not their technology." Back on the horizon, John Carter called a quiet order. "Focus on observation. Learn their tactics. Do not waste energy on destroying them in this exercise. Show them we are here and that we endure." Emma Brooks worked at her console, analyzing the alien weapons. "Their weapons are powerful, yes, but they rely on patterns. We can adapt." "Exactly," John said. "Humans adapt. That is why we survive. That is why Earth survives." As the exercise continued, the alien crews began to whisper among themselves. Their confidence, once so strong, wavered. They had mocked Earth. They had laughed at these simple ships. But the humans were not just surviving. They were learning, adjusting, and responding in ways the aliens did not understand. John Carter looked at the stars again. "They think this is just an exercise. They will learn one day that humans prepare for everything, not to impress, not to intimidate, but to survive." And at that moment, in the quiet hum of the horizon's engines and the calm focus of the human crews, something shifted. The laughter of the galaxy was not gone, but it had begun to lose its edge. For the first time, the aliens saw that Earth was not like other planets. They saw that humans had something more important than beauty or speed. They had endurance. They had courage. They had each other. And that was enough to make even the most confident alien commanders pause and wonder if perhaps, for the first time, they had underestimated humanity. The stars stretched endlessly around the Earth fleet as it moved deeper into the alien-controlled space. The exercise had begun, but for humans it was more than practice. It was a chance to show what they were made of. John Carter walked the bridge, observing his crew as they adjusted to the alien maneuvers. Every officer moved with purpose, every sailor knew their task, and every ship responded like a single body. Emma Brooks leaned over her console, her fingers moving quickly across the controls. "Commander, I have been watching their formations," she said. "They are impressive, yes, but rigid. They repeat the same movements over and over. We can predict their next steps." John nodded. "Good. Humans don't just react, we think ahead. That is why we survive." Below the bridge, the human fleet hummed with activity. Each ship had been built not for style, but for endurance. The hulls were thick, layered in steel and alloys that could take repeated hits. The engines were simple, powerful, and easy to repair even in the middle of space. Weapons were practical, laser cannons, missiles, and rail guns that might not look elegant, but they worked, and they worked even when systems were damaged. Captain Alex Morrow spoke with his crew on one of the smaller ships. Keep your focus. Do not be distracted by the colors, the lights, or their speed. Stick to our plan. Adapt if needed. Trust each other. The crew nodded. There was a quiet confidence among them, not arrogance. They did not need to show off. Every officer and sailor knew the value of survival. They had learned it on Earth, through storms, fires, floods, wars, and accidents. Humans did not fear failure, they prepared for it. Meanwhile, on the alien command ships, discussions became heated. Admiral Cathar paced the deck of his flagship, his claws tapping against the metal floor. This is unacceptable. They should not be able to keep up with us. Their weapons are weak. Their shields are weaker. How do they survive our attacks? Captain Lyra shook her head. We do not understand them yet. Their systems are strange, yes, but they respond in ways we cannot predict. They do not fight like us. They do not rely on elegance or speed. They rely on persistence, on endurance, on each other. Cathar growled in frustration. Persistence. Endurance, these are words. Words cannot stop our energy beams from cutting their ships apart. But the humans kept moving. Every attack from the aliens was met with careful, precise maneuvers. Ships that were damaged rerouted power to working systems. Guns that stopped automatically were operated manually. Shields that were weakened were reinforced with secondary layers. Every officer made decisions quickly, adapting to situations in ways the aliens could not predict. Lucas Hayes, watching from the Horizon's tactical station, spoke aloud, though only for the crew nearby to hear. They think this is simple, that we are easy to break, but we are not. Humans never break so easily. That is our advantage. Emma Brooks smiled. Yes. And they will learn that the hard way. The exercise continued for hours, and the humans learned more about the alien tactics with each movement. They noted patterns. They observed weak points. They did not attack to destroy. They attacked to test, to gather knowledge, and to prepare. John Carter watched quietly, letting his officers work. He did not interfere unless necessary. Humans trusted one another, and he trusted them to make the right decisions. Observation first, he said. Understanding comes next. Force comes only when needed. Back on the alien command ships, the mood had changed. Whispers and doubts replaced laughter. The aliens were beginning to realize that the humans were not just surviving, they were learning. Each small ship moved in ways that seemed chaotic but were actually highly coordinated. Every maneuver had a purpose. Cathar slammed his clawed hand on the console again. We are losing control of the exercise. How can this be? They should be falling apart. Captain Lyra responded calmly, almost too calmly. They are humans, Cathar. They prepare for chaos. They expect it. Every flaw we have is accounted for in their planning. They adapt while we are still executing the same old routine. The humans noticed these patterns too. Captain Alex Morrow ordered his small ships to execute a series of maneuvers designed to confuse the aliens further. They split and regrouped, appearing to retreat, then striking from angles the aliens had not expected. The aliens had never faced an opponent who treated unpredictability as a strength. Emma Brooks worked feverishly on her console, adjusting shield output, calculating trajectories, and keeping engines at peak efficiency. Commander, the aliens are changing formations again. They are trying to trap us, but we can predict their moves now. John Carter leaned over her shoulder. Good, let them come. Let them try to force us into a corner. Humans do not corner easily. We find a way out every time. Lucas Hayes, younger than most on the bridge, watched the alien movements with fascination. It is like they are learning slowly, but we are always one step ahead. It's amazing. John smiled faintly. Humans survive by learning from everything. Every mistake, every disaster, every battle, we remember it, and we prepare. That is why our fleet may look simple, but it is strong. The aliens began to notice that human ships rarely stayed still. Every ship moved to cover a weak point or support another. The humans were not just machines, they were people thinking and acting as a single force. The aliens had never faced anything like it. Cathar growled. It is not possible. These humans are just flesh and bone. How can they move so fast, react so perfectly? Captain Lyra said softly, It is not the speed, Cathar, it is the human mind. They expect the worst. They plan for disaster, and they survive it. On the horizon, John Carter called a meeting with his senior officers. Listen, he said, we are learning their tactics. We are observing, adapting, and preparing. Remember, this is still an exercise, but it teaches us everything we need to know. One day, we might face real attacks. We must be ready." Emma Brooks nodded. "Commander, the fleet is working perfectly. No ship is out of position for more than a few seconds. Repairs are efficient. Systems are holding. We are ready for anything they throw at us." John Carter looked at the stars outside the bridge. "Earth has survived worse than this. Humanity was not built for comfort. We were built for survival, and that is why we endure when others fail." For hours, the exercise went on. The aliens fired energy beams, tried flanking maneuvers, and attempted to isolate human ships. Every time, the humans adapted. They did not panic. They did not rely on technology alone. They relied on each other. They relied on human ingenuity and resilience. Lucas Hayes, watching from the Horizon's tactical station, called out, "Commander, the aliens are confused. They expected us to break." "They are not prepared for this kind of teamwork." John nodded. "Let them be confused. Confusion is our ally. Humans think ahead. We expect the unexpected. We survive the impossible." Back on the alien command ships, the atmosphere had changed completely. Doubt replaced confidence. Fear was quiet but growing. The Zarians and Velner were no longer laughing at humans. They were studying them, wondering and fearing what might come next. Cathar turned to Lyra. "We mocked them. We laughed at them. And now I do not know if we can predict them anymore. Their simplicity hides something we cannot see." Captain Lyra nodded. "It is not simplicity, Cathar. It is human endurance. It is adaptation. It is preparation for failure. That is why they survive." Meanwhile, the humans continued their exercise, unaware of the fear they had begun to inspire. They moved as one, each ship covering the others, each crew member working tirelessly. They tested the aliens' formations, predicted attacks, and adjusted in real time. Emma Brooks leaned back, a small smile on her face. "Commander, it is working. They cannot keep up with us. Every movement we make surprises them." John Carter looked at her calmly. "Good. Remember, Emma, this is not about showing off. It is about learning. One day we might need these lessons for real. One day survival will depend on them." Lucas Hayes, younger and eager, whispered to a nearby officer, "It's incredible. We are proving them wrong without firing to kill. They thought we were weak, but they cannot see what makes us strong." John Carter nodded. "Strength is not always what others see. It is endurance. It is adaptation. It is working together when the odds are against you. That is human strength." By the time the exercise ended for the day, the aliens were silent. They had expected easy targets. They had expected to laugh. Instead, they had learned to worry. The humans were not beautiful, not elegant, not flashy, but they were strong and they were not afraid. John Carter walked across the bridge, his eyes on the stars. "They mocked us," he said softly, "and now they are learning. That is the first step. Tomorrow we will teach them more." Emma Brooks smiled. "Commander, the fleet is ready. The humans are ready. We will survive anything, even if they do not believe it yet." John nodded. "Yes, humans always survive, and one day they will understand that underestimating Earth is the greatest mistake they can make." The stars continued to stretch endlessly, quiet and unbroken. But for the humans and for the aliens watching them, nothing would ever be the same. The Earth fleet was not just a fleet. It was humanity itself, moving among the stars, strong, resilient, and ready. And for the first time, the galaxy began to notice. The calm of space shattered suddenly. From the dark edges of the starfield, a massive fleet appeared. These ships were unlike any the humans or aliens had seen before. They moved with speed and precision, their surfaces glinting with strange energy. The alien command ships scrambled, their systems sending warnings, alarms, and urgent messages. "Commander Carter," Emma Brooks said, her voice tense but steady, "that fleet, they are not part of the exercise. We are being attacked." John Carter remained calm. He looked at the display and saw hundreds of vessels, much larger and more advanced than even the alien fleets. "They are strong," he said quietly. "But humans do not panic. Prepare the fleet. We fight." Captain Alex Morrow called over the comms to the smaller human ships. "All units engage defensive formation immediately. Protect each other. Focus on survival. Adjust tactics as needed." The human fleet moved quickly, aligning into a pattern designed for defense. The ships were heavy, yes, but they were built for endurance. Shields were raised to maximum, engines pushed to their limits. Guns and missile systems began scanning for targets. The alien fleets reacted slower. Their systems, built for control and predictability, struggled with the sudden attack. Energy beams fired in waves, but the attackers did not follow normal patterns. They did not allow the aliens to anticipate their moves. Confusion spread quickly among the Zarians and Velner. "Commander," Lucas Hayes said, his voice tense, "the aliens' ships are faltering. Their systems are failing under this attack. They can't keep up." John nodded. "Good, let them struggle. Humans are ready. Focus on the threat in front of us, not the panic around us." Emma Brooks moved rapidly across the bridge, her hands flying over the controls. "Commander, shields on multiple ships are at risk. If we don't reroute power now, they could fail." "Do it," John said. "We have backups for a reason. Keep every ship in the fight. Humans do not give up, not now, not ever." The enemy fleet was relentless. Their weapons cut through space with precision, striking at ships from all angles. Alien fleets tried to respond, but their reliance on automated systems slowed them down. The humans, however, adapted. On the horizon, John watched as his officers made split-second decisions. Guns that failed were operated manually. Engines that faltered were repaired mid-flight. Shields that weakened were reinforced with secondary systems. Every human acted not just for themselves, but for the fleet as a whole. Lucas Hayes called out, "Commander, our smaller ships are performing diversion maneuvers. The attackers are breaking formation to chase them." "Exactly what we need," John said. "Keep them moving, force them to split. That is how we survive." Captain Alex Morrow directed his units to focus fire on ships that threatened the fleet most. They did not try to destroy everything. They aimed to slow, confuse, and protect one another. Every human ship was connected by strategy, instinct, and trust. Emma Brooks watched the data streaming across her console. "Commander, the enemy fleet is powerful, but their systems rely too much on precision. They are not ready for improvisation. Humans can adapt faster than they can react." John nodded. "Exactly. We turn chaos into advantage. That is what humans do." The alien fleets, previously so confident, began to notice the difference. Their attacks were less effective, their formations disrupted. They had underestimated the humans. They had mocked them during the exercise, but now the humans were proving their true strength. Admiral Cathar's claws clenched tightly on the command console. "These humans, they are not simple. They survive. They adapt. Why do they survive while our fleets falter?" Captain Lyra's eyes narrowed. "They think differently. They do not rely on perfect systems. They do not follow patterns we can predict. They expect disaster and prepare for it. That is why they survive." Back on the horizon, John Carter saw the first opportunity to strike. "Target the enemy vessels that are weakest or isolated. Use careful, controlled fire. Protect the fleet at all costs. Humans survive first, victory comes second." Emma Brooks and Lucas Hayes coordinated the attacks, calculating the angles and timing with precision. Human ships moved as one, hitting enemy vessels where they were most vulnerable. The attackers were surprised, unable to anticipate the humans' unconventional strategies. Captain Alex Morrow shouted over the comms, "All units continue to adapt. Do not wait for orders. Think, act, survive. Every ship matters." The battle raged across the starfield. The enemy fleet had superior firepower, but the humans had endurance and flexibility. Ships that were damaged continued fighting. Crews worked tirelessly, rerouting power, repairing engines, and keeping guns operational. Humans did not rely on one system to succeed. They had backups for every critical component. Emma Brooks adjusted shield outputs on the horizon. "Commander, we can hold them a little longer. If the fleet keeps moving and improvising, we can outlast their attack." John Carter's eyes were steady. "Good. We do not need to destroy them yet. We need to survive, and in surviving, we will turn the tide." The smaller human ships performed daring maneuvers, drawing enemy vessels into traps. Missiles and rail guns struck with precision. The enemy fleet, confident at first, began to falter under unpredictable attacks. They had expected humans to break, but humans did not break. Lucas Hayes shouted in disbelief, "Commander, they are retreating. Their formations are collapsing." John Carter kept his voice calm. "Not yet, they are testing us. Stay focused. Keep moving, keep surviving." Meanwhile, aboard the alien command ships, fear was spreading. Admiral Cathar growled, "How can these humans survive what we are doing to them? Every attack, every strike, yet they do not fall. How?" Captain Lyra said softly, "They expect failure, they prepare for it, they survive it. They are not like us, that is why they endure." The human fleet pressed their advantage carefully. They did not act recklessly. Every decision was calculated, every movement purposeful. The enemy fleet was fast and powerful, but it could not match human endurance. Ships that would have been destroyed continued fighting through damage. Crews improvised repairs mid-battle. Every officer made choices that no automated system could predict. Emma Brooks shouted, "Commander, we can target the lead ships. If we hit them strategically, the rest of their fleet will have to pull back." John Carter nodded. "Do it. Focus fire. Keep the fleet protected. Humans survive first. Victory comes second." The Horizon fired its heavy cannons with precision, hitting the lead enemy vessels. Explosions lit the starfield, and the attackers hesitated. Confusion spread quickly. Their formations broke apart, leaving openings for the human fleet to exploit. Captain Alex Morrow led the smaller ships in coordinated attacks, striking at weak points. The human fleet moved as a single organism, covering each other's weaknesses, reinforcing damaged ships, and keeping every vessel operational. Lucas Hayes shouted in disbelief, "Commander, they are retreating. The enemy fleet is pulling back." John Carter watched quietly, his hands resting on the railing. "Not because we are stronger, but because we survive longer than they expected. That is human strength. That is Earth's strength." The alien fleets withdrew, their confidence shattered. They had underestimated humanity, mocked the fleet, and now faced the reality that humans were a force unlike any they had encountered. On the horizon, John Carter allowed himself a small nod. They learned today that humans are not easily broken. That is the lesson. Survival first, victory follows. Remember that. Emma Brooks smiled, her hands moving across her console even as the battle quieted. "Commander, the fleet is holding together perfectly." Every ship survived. Every crew member performed beyond expectations. Lucas Hayes laughed quietly, exhausted but exhilarated. "We actually did it. We survived against a fleet that should have destroyed us. We really survived." John Carter looked out at the stars, calm but proud. "Yes, Lucas, humans survive. That is what we do. We do not give up. We adapt. We endure. That is why Earth's fleet is strong, even when others think it is weak." The alien commanders watched from a distance, silent and thoughtful. Their mockery had turned to fear and fear to respect. They had assumed humans would be easy to defeat. They had been wrong. Captain Lyra whispered to Cathar, "We laughed at them. We assumed they were weak. But they are strong in ways we cannot match. They fight differently. They survive differently. That is something to respect, not mock." Admiral Cathar growled, but there was no answer. The humans had proven their point. They had survived when others expected them to fail. They had adapted, improvised, and endured. Back on the horizon, John Carter addressed his crew. "Today, you have done more than survive an attack. You have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. Remember this moment. Remember how you acted. Because one day it will matter even more." Emma Brooks leaned back in her chair, exhausted but satisfied. "Commander, it was incredible. Every ship, every crew member, they performed perfectly under pressure." John nodded. "That is the way humans work. We expect the worst and we survive it. That is our advantage. That is what makes Earth strong." As the stars stretched endlessly around them, the Earth fleet regrouped. Ships were repaired, shields reinforced, and crews took a brief rest. They were battered, yes, but unbroken. The humans had survived against impossible odds, proving once again that endurance and adaptability were more powerful than speed or elegance. And in the silence after the battle, the aliens knew it too. They had mocked Earth's fleet once, but now they understood. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were survivors. They were fighters. They were unpredictable, unyielding, and stronger than anyone had imagined. For the first time, the galaxy began to see humans differently. The stars were calm again, but the tension in the galaxy had changed. The alien fleets had retreated, their formations broken, their confidence shaken. For the first time, the humans saw that they were no longer viewed as weak, simple, or easy to mock. The battle had taught the aliens something they would not forget. John Carter walked across the bridge of the horizon, his hands resting lightly on the railing. The fleet was regrouping, each ship reporting its status. Engines were checked, shields repaired, and weapons systems recalibrated. The humans moved with calm efficiency, not pride, not arrogance, just quiet determination. Emma Brooks worked at her console, checking reports from every ship. "Commander, all units are operational. Some have minor damage, but nothing critical. Every crew performed perfectly." John nodded. "Good, that is exactly what we needed. not just to survive, but to learn. Humans do not just fight, they observe, adapt, and endure. That is what sets us apart. Captain Alex Morrow called over the comms from one of the smaller ships. Commander, the fleet is in position. Everyone is ready for the next step. What are your orders? John looked out at the stars. We continue forward. We do not let fear stop us. Today we survived the impossible. Tomorrow we will build on that. Humanity never stops learning, and humanity never stops surviving. Across the galaxy, the alien commanders met in their conference rooms. The Zarians and Velner were silent, their previous arrogance gone. They had underestimated humans once, and it had nearly cost them. Admiral Cathar spoke first, his voice low and tense. We mocked them. We laughed at them, and now we see that we were wrong. Humans survive, they adapt, they endure, their fleet is not weak. It is built to last, and their crews, they are remarkable. Captain Lyra nodded slowly. They are different from any species we have encountered. They fight as one, but they do not rely solely on technology. They rely on each other, on trust, and on resilience. That is why they survive where others fail. Back on the horizon, John Carter gathered his senior officers. Listen, he said, the galaxy will remember what happened today. We did not just survive an attack from a fleet that should have destroyed us. We showed that humans are strong, and that strength comes from more than weapons. It comes from endurance, teamwork, and adaptability. Emma Brooks smiled. Commander, the crews will remember this too. They have seen what they can do when everything is against them. They will be ready for anything from now on. John nodded. Exactly. Humans learn from every experience. Every disaster, every battle, every challenge teaches us something. And today we taught the galaxy what humans are capable of. The fleet moved slowly forward, back into the wider space of the galaxy. Repairs continued, and exhausted crews rested while still remaining alert. Each ship told a story of survival, of endurance, of humans refusing to give up even when faced with overwhelming odds. Lucas Hayes leaned over the tactical console, watching the reports come in. Commander, I think the aliens are starting to respect us. They are not attacking, and their movements are cautious. They seem hesitant. John Carter nodded. That is good. We do not want unnecessary conflict. We want respect, and we earn it by showing our strength and our resolve. Humans survive, and when we survive, others take notice. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy slowly began to understand Earth's fleet. The aliens who had mocked them now reported the humans' resilience to their councils. Stories of the battle spread. Humans were no longer just a minor species. They were a force to be respected. On the horizon, John Carter spoke to his crew. You have all done an extraordinary job. Today, we survived. But tomorrow, we continue to learn, to adapt, and to prepare for whatever the galaxy sends our way. That is what humans do, Emma Brooks added, and we will keep surviving. No matter what comes next, humans never give up. Captain Alex Morrow smiled at his crew. We have proven our point, not with flashy ships, not with elegant weapons, but with endurance, teamwork, and determination. That is human strength. The humans were proud, but they did not boast. They knew that survival was never guaranteed. They repaired what was broken, reinforced what was weak, and continued forward. Each crew member understood that the galaxy was full of dangers, and each of them was ready to face them. Meanwhile, alien commanders continued to analyze the humans. Admiral Cathar spoke with a quiet respect he had never shown before. They are not the weak species we assumed. They survive, adapt, and endure. Their fleet may look simple, but their strength is in their people. Captain Lyra added, we underestimated them once. We will not make that mistake again. Humans are different, unpredictable, and unyielding. They are a species to be respected, not mocked. Back on the horizon, John Carter looked out at the stars. They will respect us now, not because of our size or our weapons, but because we survived when others would have failed. That is humanity's greatest strength. Emma Brooks leaned beside him, quiet but proud. It is not just the ships, John, it is the people. Every crew member, every officer, every sailor, they are the reason we survived. John nodded. Exactly, Emma. Humans survive because we expect the worst, prepare for it, and face it together. That is why Earth's fleet is strong. That is why humanity is strong. The fleet moved forward, not as a collection of ships, but as a single entity. Every crew member knew their role, every officer knew the plan, and every ship acted as one. Humans did not rely on beauty or elegance, but on endurance, teamwork, and determination. Lucas Hayes smiled as he watched the stars. It feels like the galaxy is starting to notice us. They see that we are not weak, that we are strong. John Carter looked at him with calm pride. They will remember us, Lucas. They will learn that mocking humans is a mistake. We do not give up and we do not break. That is what makes us powerful. As days turned into weeks, the alien fleet stopped their open attacks. They no longer mocked humans, and they began to treat Earth as a serious member of the galactic community. Humans had earned their respect, not with weapons alone, but with endurance, adaptability, and courage. On the horizon, John Carter gathered his officers one final time before leaving the exercise area. "Remember this," he said. "Humans do not survive by luck. We survive because we prepare, we adapt, and we endure. That is the lesson the galaxy has learned, and it is the lesson we must never forget ourselves." Emma Brooks nodded. "Commander, the fleet is ready for whatever comes next. We know our strength now, and we know we can survive anything," Captain Alex Morrow added. "We have proven that humans are not weak, we are not easily broken, and we will continue to be strong." John Carter looked at his fleet, at the humans who had fought and survived together. "Yes, we are strong, not because of our ships, but because of our people. Humans survive, and when we survive, we grow stronger. The galaxy will remember that." The stars stretched endlessly around them, quiet and peaceful, but the humans knew that peace was never guaranteed. They had survived a fleet that should have destroyed them. They had endured, adapted, and worked together to overcome impossible odds. And in the quiet that followed, the humans understood something important. Survival was not just about fighting. It was about endurance, trust, teamwork, and courage. Humans had all of those things in abundance. The galaxy had once mocked Earth's fleet. Now it respected it. The humans had proven themselves, and their story would spread. Other species would remember the fleet that survived the impossible, the people who adapted when others failed, and the courage that never wavered. John Carter stood at the bridge of the horizon, looking out at the stars. "This is just the beginning," he said softly. "Humans survive, and we will continue to do so. The galaxy will learn that Earth is not a species to be mocked. We are strong, we endure, and we will always rise." Emma Brooks smiled. "Commander, the galaxy has learned, and humanity will continue to show its strength." The horizon led the fleet forward, engines steady, shields strong, and crew ready. Every ship was more than metal and weapons. Each ship carried humans who were determined, resilient, and courageous. Together they had survived, and together they would continue to survive. The stars stretched endlessly before them, quiet, unbroken, and full of possibilities. The humans moved forward, not as weaklings or simple beings, but as survivors, as fighters, and as a species that the galaxy would never again underestimate. For the humans, survival was never optional. It was who they were. And now the galaxy had learned it too. The Earth fleet continued on its path, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. And the humans knew, as they always had, that together they could endure anything. They mocked Earth's fleet until they learned humans created it.